Heyo,
Hey.
how's it going? It is Friday afternoon currently. Pretty excited. Long, fun weekend ahead. I hope you're doing something fun.
Yeah.
Um, I was in my second year of teaching, and so just starting with a quick little story. My second year of teaching, I had this kiddo in my class whose parents were also teachers. Both of them. So his mom and his dad were teachers, and I remember overhearing him having the conversation. He was an eighth grader, and this kiddo said, "What is it like to have two parents who are teachers?" And he thought about it for a second, and then he said, "You know, teachers, they're just like everybody else. It's just that they have smaller houses." And that's fair, right? So we wanted to talk to you guys about today.
Yeah, we're going to discuss finances. And I know it's a big thing
It's a hot topic.
when it
Yeah.
comes to relationships is money.
Mhm. Money is like again one of those like top things that like people get in fights about.
Yeah, it's because it's either some people think of it as I made it, it's mine, and I get to I get to choose how I share it. And then
Mhm.
there's other thoughts of that.
And there's like the savers versus the spenders.
Yeah, and that's always can be a challenge of
Mhm.
one person who wants to spend and one person who wants to save.
Mhm. There's for me, the biggest struggle has been like money has been like a source of kind of control for me. So like if I can control where all my money goes, then I feel better. But sometimes you can't control because like things pop up and things happen. So there's like a lot of stress around it. Like I get it. I get why people fight about it.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Um, but we often get asked about it too.
Yeah, people wonder where do we. It's not like we're not rich.
We're both teachers.
We're both
We both make teacher salaries.
public school teachers.
If you're not familiar with a lot of what we do, like we own a nice house.
Yeah.
We own decent cars. We travel as much as we can. We're putting a kid through college, and often people are like,
How?
"How? How are you guys doing this?" Because
Don't come from money. We're not like
neither of us come
trust
from
fund.
super wealthy families. Yeah, we didn't have like
No inheritances.
none.
Nothing. Yeah.
Yeah. And so we wanted to talk to you guys today about that.
Yeah, there's some simple things, and let us know, your thoughts on some of these things.
Yeah, feel free to sound off. Like if you have some tried and true advice too, some things that have worked for you, feel free in the comments or you can send us a message or whatever. Yeah, what are your tips and tricks and things that have worked well for you and your spouse or just you and yeah.
Yeah. So back in the day when we got together, um,
we had nothing.
we didn't have anything, right? We had nothing worth taking.
My total income was around $800 a month on a good month.
And I mean, pre-teaching, I was making like $12 an hour with a college degree, which even in 2008 was nothing. Yeah, so we didn't really have a lot.
And we had debt. So when I was pregnant with Dylan, our oldest, I took out a credit card, and I ended up paying a lot of like medical expenses on the credit card, which is not advisable. Please don't do that if you can help it, because then you're paying like so much compound interest and all of those things on that debt. But by the time he was born, not that it was extravagant debt, but I had about $3,000 in credit card debt.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like a lot now, but
no. And then you had some student loan debt,
and I was chipping that away. And so, yeah, and so how we went about it was Which
to
was
go from that to where it was like we cannot afford much
anything.
at all. Like we just really can't, to where we are now. That's kind of what we want to talk
Comfortable,
about.
yeah.
Where we're now, we're not rich, but we're comfortable. We're like, we could travel. We can, we have, we're not going to panic if
Yeah.
something pops up. Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of things we did, and there's some things that we've done that, in my mind, we were already doing, and it was just good to have it like reinforced or professional saying that's how you do it. So like
Yeah.
Dave Ramsey, you
Yeah.
guys probably know that name.
Financial peace was something
Comes up
so
a lot.
The church that we were going to when we first got married was doing a lot of like financial peace work, and a lot of my friends were doing it like at the same time with their churches. Like it was like not new, but like making a wave.
Yeah. And so we went through that, and
Mm-hmm.
again, that was where there were things that were new, but there was also a lot of things that I guess I had instilled in my upbringing of things to do,
Mm-hmm.
which is always a positive when some of those things are reinforced by a professional saying, "Yep, that's a good way to build wealth or exit debt."
Mm-hmm.
And we're not going to go into all the details of what that is. You can look into
The
financial
whole thing.
peace and
But the big pieces for us that worked
yeah,
really
there's
well.
some big takeaways. Like number one was budgeting, like, and we
Mhm.
still do this
we
today.
Still, every year we sit down at least once or twice a year.
What goes, like, what do we have to spend, like
Mhm.
mortgage and the
Savings
average,
and
how much do we want to save per
utilities
month?
and how much are we going to spend in gas and how much are we going to spend in
Yeah.
groceries, and like we actually budget for all of these
Everything,
things
yeah.
and then stick to the budget.
And then we decide what's important. So,
Mm-hmm.
like, we don't pick a streaming service and just like do it all year. I know, like, we'll go in seasons. Like, we'll do Netflix for, I don't know, a month or two,
Yeah,
and
like catch
we
up
watch
with
everything
things
we like, and then
cancel it.
cancel it because there's nothing. It's not worth having, and then we'll, purchase another one, and we'll go back and forth. It's a lot of juggling.
Not
But
a lot. It's like
Usernames and passwords, and
sure.
but it's worth it because why have all the streaming services? It ends up
But yeah,
being
like
the cost
I mean,
of
I
cable.
think the point is like you like cut what you can cut.
Yeah.
Like you like really do the hard talk on like, is this something that we need and is this something that we don't need? And if it's not something that you need, that's not necessarily bad. And if it fits in your budget and it like, then by all means.
And what do we value? And so
Yeah,
some of the things we
that's
value
the other
is
thing. That's
like
the other
travel.
part is like travel is something we value. So in order to do that, like we don't go get coffee all the time.
No,
We don't
we budget
go
one day
out to eat all the time.
Yeah, we budget the one day a week, and we stick to that. When we travel, we stick to a tight budget
Mm-hmm.
with whether it's flights, hotels, or the daily expenditure.
Yeah, like we
wherever we
usually
are.
have like here's how much we're gonna spend per day, depending on like where in the world we are
Yeah,
and what's like average cost of
we
things.
did the cash thing for a while, where we just
where you actually like take out cash for your spending money.
and do it that way because it's the whole idea of credit card is mindless. You just tap it or put it in, and then it just comes out magically.
I mean,
so,
in Berlin, we had no choice but to do cash
Yeah,
because they're like a
and
cash society.
you have a little bit more of an attachment to cash, and so when
Yeah.
you spend it, you have that like, do I really want to give this away for that product?
Sure.
So we did that for a little bit.
But also like the snowball. So like the snowball method of things where it's like you pay off the smallest debt and then
Yeah, that was a big one.
when you're done paying off. So for example, I had Invisalign and the debt for that was like a couple $1,000s, and as soon as that was paid down, instead of just being like, woo, I got this extra money every month that I don't have to spend, you just take that and you shovel it right into the next biggest debt. And so from there it was like, oh, let's pay off the credit card debt.
Yeah.
Oh, let's pay off your student loans. Oh, let's pay off my student loans. And then it was like that snowball. So that actually by the time Dylan was like a fourth grader. He was in fourth grade. we had every single debt paid off.
Yeah, and it works. Like, and,
We owed zero.
and there's so many more methods to reducing or getting rid of your debt.
But that was like a big,
those are
like
some big ones.
the freedom that you do feel from not having to be underneath a sizable debt is amazing.
Yeah, and it takes time, like
It does.
years, for us.
I mean, like I said, Dylan was like 4th or 5th grade, so at that point he was what, 10? So it took like 10 years.
Yeah.
But it was worth it because now we do have, like, once you pay off that final debt, you're like, now we do just have like extra money.
Your income is actually money you can spend on what you deem what you want, whether that's increasing your travel budget, increasing luxury items, like whether it's, we like shoes, we like travel. Some people
I do love my shoes. And
want
not like
those perks in life.
I don't need like the super spendy ones. I just want the like really cool bizarre ones. Yeah.
But there's times that we've struggled with it where whether it's saving versus spending, sometimes I'm a little bit more on the spendy side.
I fully,
and I'm
like almost like red flag, like maybe not red flag, maybe like a beige flag. I will save and save and save.
And I have been saving or
to
investing
the point that
since college.
We have a guy at Edward Jones that actually gives me a hard time about it.
Sometimes,
Not a hard time. He's always like, you should probably be making your money work for you in different ways other than just sitting there accumulating.
Yeah, and I'm more the opposite. Like, it's money. It comes, it goes. I'm a little bit more like, if I have extra, let's invest it versus just sit on it. But, it's money.
It's money.
We fight about it sometimes.
We don't fight about it. We argue about it sometimes. But like, and that's to say too, like, so as a couple, navigating money, it's not always easy because we do all have our different, like, here's how I handle it versus you handle it.
And it's also like what you were brought up with and what I was brought up with, which aren't that
and your
different.
Own securities and insecurities. Yeah. But the thing is too, is that like one of the, so when we first got married, we did not have a combined account. We just kept everything separate for a while.
Yeah. And we agreed upon like,
here's the bills that you're going to pay, here's the bills. But like if one of us.
And the bills are similar in
But we also
weight.
Understood that they were very similar, like straight down the middle, but it was also this like understanding of like, we're also a team, right? And so we did that for like a few years. But then, and I remember kind of panicking when we joined accounts, because then it's like, oh man.
Yeah, because now you have access
to fully trust that other person
to see what they're actually spending their money on.
And that was like for me, because money is such a security. Like that was hard for me to be like, I trust you with my money.
And there's one part I still struggle with that,
which is like
gifts.
Gifts stink when you share accounts.
Because like I want to buy you something, and you have access to like.
I can see it.
You can see where what is this amount that you spent on this? And I'm like, and you're like, and okay, yeah. So it's harder.
Yeah, that's true.
Sometimes it's hard. I mean, that's the
one downside.
But, yeah.
But other than that, I will say that like joining accounts has been amazing. Like it's been, because it totally, I think when you're married, you really have to be careful about yours versus mine, because it's not anymore. It's ours.
Yeah.
It's not your paycheck, my paycheck. It's our paychecks. It's not your debt, my debt. It's our debt. It's not your payment, my payment. It's our payment. And it's easy to say that in theory when you're separate accounts, but when it's all one and it all just goes to the same place, it's a no-brainer. Like it takes all of the like splitting things and like it takes it all out.
Yeah.
And it's just all coming from the same place. And
I bet the other way also works for some people. Like for us, we tried it separate, and it it was more beneficial for us to combine. But there's probably people who could be and probably are successful having their separate things, and more power to them. Yeah, and so another thing I was thinking about when it comes to the money was I just lost it.
That's okay. It'll come
It's
back.
been a long week.
It's been Tyler has been
just came back from camp.
At camp with a bunch of kids, so there's that.
Yeah.
And I just got done state testing, so both of us, in our own unique ways, are a little bit brain dead.
Yeah.
Yeah. On this Friday, but we are excited because we're going to get out of town. Speaking of traveling, we're going down to Mount Shasta.
Yeah.
Got a little house dog sitter, and we are just going to go spend some quality time together. Yeah. So that's exciting.
When did the big combine?
Yeah.
Was when
we moved to Berlin.
Yeah.
Because we kind of had to. Like, it was like.
We needed
a
singular bank account.
I mentioned it before, but I remember being like, part of my panic was like, do I have to ask permission to spend money then?
Yeah.
And things like that. And so I kind of like freaked out, but then like, nope, because it's ours. It's our account. It's our thing. So, yeah. I will say investments that have been beneficial. One is buying a house versus renting. Like, I think that like we've done both.
Yeah.
And there's a season for rent, and it helps sometimes. But if you can buy a house, like if you know you're going to stay long term in a place, purchasing a house and then getting equity from that house is definitely worth it.
And do your research on neighborhoods and schools and resale. I mean, there's things.
There's things, but like if you make a wise real estate investment, like.
There's people.
That's been really helpful to us.
Budgeting was another big one.
Budgeting was big.
Like
even buying like specific cars that you know are going to resell later for similar to what you bought it for, or take a little bit of a cut. Again, this has gone both ways, but because I've had cars where it's like, man, they maintain their value, and some that don't. But we overall try to get cars that we know that we're going to be able to sell for not that big of a hit.
Yeah, economical for the most
part. And then just like be
things.
thoughtful about what you're spending. So like do write things down. The budget is huge.
And we make space for a lot, like tithing. Like we make
donations are a big part of our
give.
Yeah. In fact,
it's an important part of our budget.
In fact, for those of you anecdotally, there was one time that we were in extreme struggle. Like, oh my goodness, we're not going to make ends meet. And I remember talking to my grandmother about it. And I was like, Graham, I don't know how we're going to make it this month or even next month. I'm not bringing in enough, and our rent is due, and we've got these medical bills and all these things adding up. And she looked at me and she said, are you tithing? And I was like, what do you mean? And she said, well, how much are you giving back? And I was like, Grandma, I don't have anything to give to my landlord. Like, how am I going to tithe right now? How am I going to like give back? And she actually showed me a place in the Bible, and she was like, this is important, and it actually will change a lot for you in your mindset. And she said, even if you can just give a little, this is actually, she said, money is the one thing that God says, test me on this. And I didn't know that, but it's true. There's actually a verse in the Bible, and it says, test me on this. And it's God saying that. And so it's like, okay. And I remember like actually the next month, I didn't have much, but we tithed. We like gave back. And to this day, like we've never stopped, because it does actually, like, whether you're Christian or not, giving money away changes the way you think about money. Like but like giving to causes, giving to people, giving to others changes. It went from mine to
we'll be okay and we always have been.
Yeah, and it just changed the way that I thought about things. So
And another takeaway is, when things do get tight, which they still do,
mm-hmm.
side hustles. Like,
yeah,
I don't think there's ever been a moment where either of us have not
had a side hustle.
A side hustle.
That's true.
Like,
even so, when I wasn't working, when we were in Berlin, I had multiple side hustles going.
Yeah.
So I say I wasn't working, but like I was selling articles, I was writing grants, doing what I could. I took even a nanny job for a little bit, and I was nannying these two adorable twins. They were the cutest. These twin little boys, and I would go over every afternoon and nanny, and it was not great pay, but it wasn't nothing.
No, and I think hustle is good. It gives you. It could be a hobby which you're actually making money with. It could be something that somebody just needs help with, and it could be
hello. He's wearing his shirt right now.
Helping out something that you don't mind doing, and
I do
a couple
artwork.
Extra bucks go a long way.
Yeah, I do artwork on the side, and still do writing on the side, and
baking, extra yard work. I know our kids like house sit and dog sit. Like, even as kids, there's like you do things, and
it's humble. Like, you have to be willing to humble yourself sometimes and do these things too, where it's like,
and we've
not
gone
all
through
of it's
seasons where we
glamorous.
sell crap.
Yeah, sometimes we've sold things.
It's like when Dylan was like, you were pregnant, got rid of the truck. When things just sit around, I'm like,
or you just go, hey, I'm driving this nicer car. I wonder if I could like sell it and get a cheaper car
and save on that, and insurance, because I don't need a better insurance on a lousier car.
Yeah,
and it's
cut the subscriptions you don't need.
Yeah, generic food items. Some of them are better than others, and some of them, you stick to the name brand. But there's a lot of generics out there that,
trust me, we've tried them,
that are fine. Yeah, so there's a lot of ways that we've made it this far. But again, ours is not the only way. So if you have ways things that have worked for you, let us know. Leave a comment. Ask questions
if you have questions. As always, one of my favorite parts is hearing from you guys. So let us know what you think. And we'll be back next week with some more.
Yeah.
Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah. I will say, maybe we'll talk about faith. We've brought it up a couple times.
We've brought it up a couple times. So
maybe that's a whole episode.
Faith is a big part of our life, so it will be a whole episode. So.
Well, there you go.
All right. Done. Next week.
All right.
Talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.